A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom, for it is only when he is alone that he is truly free. Compassion is the basis of morality. Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see. Mostly it is loss which teaches us about the worth of things. Every man takes the limits of his own field of vision for the limits of the world. The assumption that animals are without rights and the illusion that our treatment of them has no moral significance is a positively outrageous example of Western crudity and barbarity. Universal compassion is the only guarantee of morality. It is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but it is possible to find it anywhere else. Every miserable fool who has nothing at all which he can be proud adopts as a last resource pride in the nation to which he belongs. He is ready and happy to defend all its faults and follies, tooth and nail, thus reimbursing himself for his own inferiority. One should use common words to say uncommon things. Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. We forfeit 3/4 of ourselves in order to be like other people. We will gradually become indifferent to what goes on in the minds of other people when we acquire a knowledge of the superficial nature of their thoughts, the narrowness of their views, and of the number of their errors. Whoever attaches a lot of value to the opinions of others pays them too much honor. It is a wise thing to be polite. Consequently, it is a stupid thing to be rude. To make enemies by unnecessary and willful incivility is just as insane a proceeding as to set your house on fire. For politeness is like a counter, an avowedly false coin, with which it is foolish to be stingy. What disturbs and depresses young people is the hunt for happiness, on the firm assumption that it must be met with in life. From this arises constantly deluded hope, and so also dissatisfaction. Deceptive images of a vague happiness hover before us in our dreams, and we search in vain for their original. Much would have been gained if, through timely advice and instruction, young people could have had eradicated from their minds the erroneous notion that the world has a great deal to offer them. So the problem is not so much to see what nobody has yet seen as to think what nobody has yet thought concerning that which everybody sees. I have not yet spoken my last word about women. I believe that if a woman succeeds in withdrawing from the mass, or rather raising herself from above the mass, she grows ceaselessly and more than a man. Just as one spoils the stomach by overfeeding and thereby impairs the whole body, so can one overload and choke the mind by giving it too much nourishment. For the more one reads, the fewer are the traces left of what one has read. The mind is like a tablet that has been written over and over. Hence, it is impossible to reflect, and it is only by reflection that one can assimilate what one has read. If one reads straight ahead without pondering over it later, what has been read does not take root, but is for the most part lost. Wealth is like sea water. The more we drink, the thirstier we become, and the same is true of fame. Almost all of our sorrows spring out of our relations with other people. There is no more mistaken path to happiness than worldliness. Change alone is eternal, perpetual, immortal. One can never read too little of bad, or too much of good books. Bad books are intellectual poison. They destroy the mind. In order to read what is good, one must make into a condition never to read what is bad. For life is short, and both time and strength limited. If we were not all so interested in ourselves, life would be so uninteresting that none of us would be able to endure it. Faith is like love. It does not let itself be forced. We seldom think of what we have, but always of what we lack. If we suspect that a man is lying, we should pretend to believe him, for then he becomes bold and assured, lies more vigorously, and is unmasked. There are very few who can think, but every man wants to have an opinion, and what remains but to take it ready-made from others, instead of forming opinions for himself. Politeness is to human nature what warmth is to wax. Ordinary people merely think how they shall spend their time. A man of talent tries to use it. To be shocked at how deeply rejection hurts is to ignore what acceptance involves. We must never allow our suffering to be compounded by suggestions that there is something odd in suffering so deeply. There would be something amiss if we didn't. Life is full of troubles and vexations, that one must either rise above it by means of correct thoughts, or leave it. Truth is no harlot who throws her arms around the neck of him who does not desire her. On the contrary, she is so coy a beauty that even the man who sacrifices everything to her can still not be certain of her favors.